Hey, my name is Nick Sheppa, Miller Motor Cars, Bentley Greenwich Sales Specialist, and this is the 2025 Bentley Flying Spur Speed. This is the fourth generation Flying Spur, and after almost 2 decades, this is our second go around in hybrid technology. We are now producing a 4-liter V8 motor paired with the battery. This is producing 771 horsepower with 738 foot-pounds of torque. Yeah. 771 horsepower and 738 foot-pounds of torque. I know. They're considering this their 4-door supercar for Bentley, and it is the most powerful 4-door car they've had in their 105-year history of the brand. As we're cruising the back roads in Greenwich, Connecticut, my favorite roads in all of the Northeast, we are completely in EV drive mode. Now, it's very different from your normal Bentley, right? So the battery's on, you don't hear the engine, but this car can accelerate up to 87 miles per hour just in that mode. So it is no slouch in that battery performance. All we need to do is hit the accelerator and it will turn on the combustion motor right away. And then, of course, being a hybrid, we'll be going back and forth. It's completely zero emissions, so if we're not driving on the back roads of Greenwich, Connecticut, we're in Manhattan, so on and so forth, you'll be just using that battery. Nice part of that is when you automatically turn the combustion motor on, at 31 miles per hour, it would automatically charge. So Bentley has designed this car where you will never need to plug it in. Now, I think a lot of people get range anxiety, and I totally get that. So having that charging at the 31 miles per hour when the combustion motor is on is perfect, so you don't need to worry about anything like that. Now, sedans are back. Not that I ever thought they actually left. But the way they've paired this car with the new hybrid technology, it is so agile and it's so responsive, especially on these back roads that we're driving in. It makes it really feel like a Continental. There's really just 2 more doors to the back with some more space on them. As we kind of go into these tight turns, you can really feel the cars kind of picking up and hooking up. I think because of how they have the engineering of this car, it's going to open itself to a whole new audience. Someone that's still looking for a really sporty experience, but maybe needs some additional space. They don't want to get into the SUV anymore. They want something still stately, but they don't want the 2-door. So that's where I think the Flying Spur always kind of fits great into the Bentley lineup, now more so than ever with all this power and performance in the car. In comparison to the 3rd generation Flying Spur Speed, this car is faster. The 0 to 60 is 3.3 seconds. On such a big car like that, it's extremely impressive, and you really need to get behind the wheel to really feel that. So please, I invite you down to try this thing out. I love it. So as we drive these back roads, since we're still under that 87 miles per hour, the combustion engine won't kick in because we're not accelerating hard enough. Now what I want to do, I'm going to just put this car right into sport mode. It's going to turn the combustion motor on right away, and you hear that exhaust note, which I've never heard really as this sharp before in any other Bentleys that we've offered. And it just sounds so sharp. It sounds so clean and crispy that makes it a little bit more exciting. You know, the Speeds traditionally always had that W12, which is of course iconic in the Bentley lineup. But now, since this is the Speed version and it's a V8, they're able to amplify the exhaust note that much more, sounding that much more enjoyable while you're driving it and under acceleration load. So having that 48-volt system in the front and having our rear wheel steering in the back, this makes this car a really performance-oriented vehicle. You don't feel that it is, in fact, 209 inches length. You feel that it is almost like a tight 2-door coupe or convertible that's completely agile and wants to go wherever you throw it. The car is planted, it's almost glued to the ground, and you can really feel that when you start to accelerate and really feel the way it takes the turns. Which in a sedan, I think over time it's focused more on that comfort, which of course we're still checking the box off, but we're really hitting that performance and sporty aspect of that. So discussing the wellness inside the cabin, there hasn't been much changes since the 3rd generation to the 4th generation. However, some things that are worth mentioning are the new diamond 3-dimensional leather that we have inside the door, the rear door, going throughout the cabin. The new stitching pattern on the seats, which once I move, you'll be able to see them, of course. And then just some of the different sort of finishes that are on the silver, which are now kind of a satin finish with an optional, you can do a dark tint to get away from more of the gloss finishing. The seats that I'm sitting in now, they look the same, however, they're known as a wellness seating. Now, this was first introduced into the Bentayga EWB. They really spent a lot of time in looking at and researching the first class seats of airlines. So these seats sort of are inflating, deflating. They have over 2,200 continuous adjustments while you're driving, because I think one of the most important things with Bentley is how someone feels in the seat. So that's something that you don't see, but you can certainly feel, because obviously that is one of the more important things when you're behind the wheel, the comfort. Since the first iteration of Generation 4 Flying Spur is the Speed, right now we are in the Speed interior color split. What does that mean in layman's terms? That means that you see the way the leather is displaced, right? So you're seeing this orange kind of accented throughout the cabin to give it that sporty look. And then you have that other color, beluga, black, kind of going throughout. Now it's funny, it's opposite. So the mandarin, orange, is the main hide, and the beluga is in fact the secondary hide. But what do we see more? We see the beluga more. So that's part of this Speed split. And as standard with the Speed, it's Alcantara. Now we option on this particular build to have that leather split, but it's entirely up to you if you want to configure your own vehicle to go that direction or not. Now what has recently been released are the non-Speed versions. We're going to have your traditional V8, we're going to have your V8 Azure, so a couple different trims that you could have a different cabin experience. And so some of the new technology we have, the gauge cluster that I'm looking at right now, by pressing view you can have 3 different orientations of the layout, which I happen to really like. You can really have a sporty layout, more traditional layout, or something that you've seen maybe if you had a 3rd generation Flying Spur. Also, USB-Cs. We finally have USB-Cs in the car. I know you've been waiting, I know you've been asking. They're in the car, thankfully. And then of course our beautiful screen, our 12.3-inch display. Looks the same as it did before, however, a big advancement in that is now wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto that completely covers the full display. No longer cut in half, completely full, and I think a lot of people have been asking for that, and it's really clean and crispy inside there. Transitioning into a hybrid vehicle may make you a little bit nervous. However, have no fear. Bentley has made it extremely easy for the user to understand and go through these different modes to transition from your full electric to your combustion motor and the combination of both. There's the button underneath the start-stop known as E mode. Now you can press this while you're driving. So right now we're in EV drive. What that does is maximize the electric driving experience, right? So as you see, the car is so quiet right now, we're just in that electric mode. I press it again, I'm hitting that hybrid. Now that is using the intelligent energy to maximize fuel efficiency and range. Then if I go down to hold, that will balance the engine and the electric power to hold the hybrid battery to use it later on. So it's saving that, it's storing that. And then of course, if we put it into our different mode, our sport mode, it's going to hold. It's going to hold the electric battery so we can use it again later. Now, that's if you wanted to kind of keep it stored in the car, and then once we get maybe to somewhere where you want to be in the city for 0 emissions or something along those lines, that's when you want to go into that mode. As you can tell now, the car's engine's on. And it definitely doesn't sound half bad. Now, if you've owned a Bentley already or you haven't before, the My Bentley app. Now, My Bentley app, you can, basically what it is you can track your car, you can lock your car, you can unlock your car. Since we have a hybrid now, you can see the range of the battery. You can set destinations. But which is really nice, we can finally start the car, right? So we can precondition the vehicle if we know we're going to leave at a certain time. We'll turn the vehicle on and it will start to weather defrost, whether you want it to cool down. So that's a nice option that's been added to the vehicle. Now, if you would have told me I could have the keys to any Bentley, my always default answer was the Bentayga, because it does everything, right? You could throw your stuff in there, you could have fun in it, you can go up to Vermont, so on and so forth. More time I spend with this Flying Spur, it can do all of that, but just have such a performance-oriented experience. And I happen to really enjoy that. As mentioned earlier, sedans are back. Even though, like I said, I don't think they ever left, but I really think if you've been on the fence or you're sort of trying to figure out what that next car is for you, I invite you down to really, really get behind the wheel of this car. Take it on the back roads that we have here. Take it on the highway. Really experience it, because I think it could change your mind. And let me sit in the back. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I hope you enjoyed.